Most people think old pennies are worthless, but this 1860 and 1861 Indian head cent could surprise you. Some collectors are paying serious money for the right condition. Let's find out why these coins are so special. Today, we are stepping back more than 160 years to explore a small but historically powerful coin, the 1860 Indian head cent. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary old penny, but when we study its design, composition, and the time period in which it was created, we begin to understand that this coin represents a turning point in American history. The coin is officially known as the Indian head cent. This famous 1-cent piece was part of a series minted from 1859 to 1909 in the United States. It replaced the earlier large cent and marked a major change in American coinage design and size. The Indian head cent was smaller, more practical, and easier for everyday transactions. The designer behind this masterpiece was James Barton Longacre, who served as chief engraver of the United States Mint. Longacre's design choice was interesting and symbolic. On the front of the coin, we see the profile of Lady Liberty. Many people mistakenly believe the image shows a Native American woman. However, it is actually Lady Liberty wearing a Native American feather headdress. This artistic decision blended classical liberty symbolism with American frontier imagery. The word liberty is clearly written across the headband of the headdress. Surrounding the portrait are the words United States of America, while the year 1860 appears at the bottom. Even after more than a century and a half, many examples still show impressive detail in the feathers and facial features. Now let's look at the reverse side. The year 1860 was important because it introduced a major design change. The first Indian head cent in 1859 featured a simple laurel wreath, but in 1860, the reverse was modified to include a stronger oak wreath design along with a Union shield placed at the top. The shield symbolized national unity and federal strength. This design change was not random. In 1860, the United States was on the edge of political collapse. Tensions between northern and southern states were rising rapidly over issues like slavery and state rights. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in November 1860, and southern states began preparing for secession. The addition of the Union shield on the coin now seems almost prophetic, a symbol of unity before division would tear the country apart. The composition of the 1860 Indian head cent is also important. It was made of 88% copper and 12% nickel. This copper-nickel alloy gave the coin a lighter, slightly yellowish tone compared to later bronze issues. It weighed approximately 4.67 grams and had a diameter of 19 millimeters. Compared to modern pennies, it feels heavier and more solid. Because nickel was harder than pure copper, these coins were more difficult to strike. As a result, some examples show weaker details, especially in the feather tips or the word liberty. Strong strikes with full feather definition are highly valued by collectors today. In terms of mintage, over 20 million coins were produced in 1860. While that may seem like a large number, remember that many were heavily circulated during a time of economic uncertainty. Finding one in high-grade condition today is not easy. Let's talk about value. In well-worn condition, the 1860 Indian head cent may sell between $20 and $50. Coins graded extremely fine can reach $100 to $200. Uncirculated examples with strong luster can sell for several $100s, depending on grading. Another detail collectors look for is the small letter L on the ribbon behind Liberty's neck. This initial represents Longacre. While it appears on many coins, it is sometimes weak or missing due to wear. A clearly visible L adds appeal. Counterfeit coins do exist in the market. Serious collectors always check weight, diameter, and magnetic response. Professional grading services can authenticate and protect the coin in a seal holder. The 1860 Indian head cent is not just a coin. It is a symbol of a nation standing at the edge of transformation. It reflects art, politics, and uncertainty. It was carried in the pockets of citizens just months before the Civil War began. Holding this coin is like holding a silent witness to history. It reminds us how even the smallest objects can carry the greatest stories. In part 2, we will explore the 1861 Indian head cent, a coin born during the very first year of the American Civil War. Now we move forward to 1861, one of the most dramatic years in American history. This was the year the Civil War officially began. And during this time of uncertainty, the United States Mint continued producing the Indian head cent. The coin we are focusing on now is the Indian head cent. At first glance, it appears nearly identical to the 1860 version. However, its historical context gives it a deeper emotional meaning. In April 1861, Confederate forces fired on Fort Sumter, marking the official beginning of the Civil War. The nation was divided between Union and Confederate states. Despite this turmoil, everyday life continued, and that included the use of small chains like the Indian head cent. The obverse design remained the same, Lady Liberty wearing a feathered headdress with Liberty inscribed on the band. Around the edge, United States of America encircles the portrait, with the year 1861 at the bottom. The reverse continues with the oak wreath and Union shield design introduced in 1860. During wartime, the shield symbol became even more meaningful. It represented hope that the Union would survive the conflict. Like its predecessor, the 1861 coin was composed of 88% copper and 12% nickel. It also weighed approximately 4.67 grams. However, as the war progressed, metal shortages became serious. Nickel was needed for military production. By 1864, the composition would change to a bronze alloy of 95% copper. More than 10 million Indian head cents were minted in 1861. While not extremely rare, high-grade examples are much scarcer today. Many were heavily circulated during wartime, leading to worn surfaces and faded details. Collectors examine feather sharpness, hair detail, and the clarity of the word liberty. If liberty is fully visible, the coin is usually in better condition and more valuable. In average circulated condition, the 1861 Indian head cent may sell for $25 to $60. Extremely fine examples can reach $150 to $250. Uncirculated coins may command several $100s or more, depending on grading. During the Civil War, Americans began hoarding coins made of precious metals. Gold and silver disappeared from circulation. Even copper-nickel cents became scarce in some areas. This led to the creation of private Civil War tokens used for trade. The 1861 Indian head cent played a role in this fascinating monetary period. Owning this coin connected a collector directly to one of the most defining conflicts in U.S. history. Imagine this coin passing from hand to hand during wartime, used by food, supplies, or daily necessities. The 1861 Indian head cent is more than metal. It represents resilience during division. It symbolizes endurance in the face of uncertainty. Together, the 1860 and 1861 Indian head cents form a powerful historical pair. One represents the tension before war. The other represents the beginning of conflict. Both remain affordable for collectors, yet priceless in historical meaning. Small coin, massive history. If you like, I can now prepare powerful YouTube titles, SEO description, tags and hashtags, thumbnail text like $25,000 rare penny, or a complete monetization-ready video package. Just tell me,